warm summer day when Taro moved to the small village of Hanamizu. He was feeling homesick for Tokyo, where he used to love riding up and down the elevators of tall skyscrapers, and he loved the flashing neon lights in the city. Soon he met two local children, Saki and Hiroshi, in the little village that he lived, and the three of them decided to go for a walk in the nearby woods. And as they were exploring, they stumbled upon a strange object that looked like a key. They soon found that it was a clue to a long lost treasure that was buried somewhere in the village. The three children, just as any children would, were determined to find the treasure. It was a summer vacation, what better to do? So they had to decipher a series of cryptic clues on the key, and along the way they had many adventures too, including escaping from a pack of angry wild boars. As they kept getting closer to the treasure, they realized that they were not alone. A group of treasure hunters were also searching for the same treasure. But with the help of their clever thinking and quick wits, the three kids managed to outsmart the treasure hunters and claim the treasure for themselves. But they were also good natured kids, so they brought all the treasure to the village chieftain and handed it over to him. The three children were hailed as heroes in the village and were invited to share the treasure with everyone. And they still had a lot more of the summer ahead of them, so they had a lot of fun playing games and enjoying the warm sunshine together. And so, Taro learned that moving to a small village in Japan could be an exciting adventure, especially when he had friends like Saki and Hiroshi by his side. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the lives of many children like Taro, who I don't really know if they have as much of an exciting adventure as Taro did. But a lot of them in Japan may be soon moving from big cities like Tokyo into small villages. Not because there's a lot of treasure there, but because that's probably what their government would like them to do. You're listening to What's New Today, a kids and family podcast about current events shaping our world. This is your host Sangeeta from India, and in every episode I'm joined by curious children from anywhere in the world to talk about each day's news story. And joining me today are...
Hi, I'm Atmaj and I have recently been promoted to class 4. I am from Alcon Public School, New Delhi. I am 8 years old now.
Hi, I'm Vani. I'm 10 years old and I have been promoted to class 6 in Alcon Public School.
All of you have been promoted this summer from your previous grades to this grade.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Congratulations and welcome. I can see that all the grinning faces are probably a reflection of the summer vacation time that all of you have. What do you think we're going to talk about in this episode? Can you tell our listeners?
We are going to talk about counter-urbanization. I mean the movement of people from urban areas to rural areas.
Some countries are paying their own people to move out.
Japan's government wants families to move out of the crowded capital Tokyo and has significantly boosted a one-time grant to kick things along. It's now worth 1 million yen per child, which is about $7,500 US.
So, Atmaj, how excited were you to read about something like this? Big words that you used. Counter-urbanization.
I was in this for the first time. I also didn't know that what counter-urbanization was. Earlier, I lived in Didcot, England, and there was a lot of fresh air. The house was very big. There was a very big garden in the front, so me and my friend could play there.
So, how is it now to live in Delhi?
It is a little crowded, a lot, and the houses are small.
The houses are small.
And there is a lot of traffic congestion and lot of air pollution.
Vani, do
Yes.
you get to go out and play with friends?
Actually, I live in areas where are streets, and my parents think that it is not safe to roam around in streets and play with your friends. So in school, I can play with them.
Recent news story is that Japan is paying people a lot of money for them to move out of its
But
capital, Tokyo, and live in smaller towns or maybe villages. And I have a
Yes,
feeling
I read about that.
you did? Okay. And I have a feeling that the two of
and
you will make the perfect guest to talk about, especially since you don't have too much place to go out and play. If someone gave your parents a lot of money and said you can move out of Delhi and you can move to a small little town and live there, what kind of a place would you like to go to? Would you like to leave Delhi and go to a place where there's a big forest and there are not too many shops, a few houses here and there? Would you like to go and live in a place like that?
Yes, of course. There will be a
Why?
lot of greenery and fresh air.
yes, that's true. We would play in the gardens with friends.
There would be one thing that there would be less children, but still we could go in nature walks. There would be a lot of fresh air. There would be a lot of peace and not crimes and traffic congestions like in urban areas.
What would be very difficult for adults to do if they had to leave a city and move to a village?
If they're leaving the job from there and getting a new job, they do not know there and they do not have friends.
In the video that I saw, I heard that the government is making other jobs and other offices at the outskirts of the city so people can stay at the rural areas so they can near to their jobs.
In one country, they gave people a lot of money and they said, please go away, go to tiny little towns and live. You can do whatever you want to, build your own houses. And a lot of forest area was cut down because of this. As much as we find this whole idea very fascinating that our cities are too overcrowded, we have too much traffic, we might not get enough water to drink. If people actually left cities and a lot of them went to the rural areas, we might actually be doing ourselves a lot more harm. Brazil tried telling people, our cities are overcrowded, so please go. And after a few years, the Amazon rainforest cover came down.
It's rainy season in the Amazon, normally a time when logging activities and fires decrease. Yet deforestation has been on the rise. During the first 3 months of this year, 941 square kilometers of the Brazilian rainforest were destroyed.
Is it better to be living in a big crowded city like Delhi or move to a small place?
I would prefer to be in a smaller town because if there is a big crowded place, there would be very expenses, as we know, and crime rates would be very, very high.
Yeah, I would also prefer to go to small towns.
But there is also a positive thing in Delhi. It has a vast improvement in telecommunications, so that is also important for us.
But wherever we go, we should use resources judiciously.
If you're really hungry, you shouldn't be ordering a very large pizza. You should order just the right size
That's
pizza.
a good example.
Thank you so much. Which brings us to the next interesting part of this episode, which is
Quiz time.
question number 1. Do you know which city in the world has the highest population?
Tokyo.
Here's the second question. Do you know which city in the world has the second highest population?
Delhi.
The third and the last question. One country tried telling its people to move away from the cities, and as a result, a lot of the rainforest in that country was cut down. Which country am I talking about?
Brazil.
Thank you so much, both of you. I think you put in a lot of effort to read on such a tricky topic like this. So I'm really happy that you found the idea of reading about it very interesting.
I was first time reading this, so I thought it would be really interesting because in school we don't talk about it that much.
And so before we wrap up this episode, we usually leave our listeners with one episode that you would recommend to them that you really found interesting. What would that be?
I would tell about Artemis. It was about the mission Artemis that NASA launched, and about in which mission of Artemis will humans go, and in which there will be only one satellite.
And in which there'd be only
One satellite.
So you like that episode about space. Okay, what about you, Vani?
There was one episode, it told about robotic fish.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing the recommended episodes. I had a lot of fun chatting with the two of you. Thank you so much.
And before we wrap this episode, I have two small requests to all of our listeners. If you truly enjoyed listening to this, please do click follow and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. And please do leave us a 5-star rating or review, because that's what will help us build our listener base. And secondly, this summer, if you're looking for interesting episodes to listen to, there are a set of thematic playlists. If you love space, if you love wildlife, if you love geopolitics, if you love sports, and many more such thematic playlists are available in the show notes below. New episodes drop every Monday and Friday on What's New Today, and
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.